Welcome to the Urbanone 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson, the talk show dedicated to uplifting and motivating individuals from all walks of life. Each week, we have the privilege of hosting incredible guests who provide incredible insights on a diverse range of topics. From local influencers to esteemed regional and national figures, they will share their experiences and wisdom to ignite positive change in our community. Get ready for another captivating episode of the Urbanone 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson. Let's embark on this journey of inspiration together.
Welcome to another great episode of Urbanone 2018. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson. I have a special guest here today, Chief Chuck Brooks of the Atmore Police Department. Chief, good to have you here. And so, Chief, just happy to have you on set with us today. And could you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Absolutely. My name is Chuck Brooks. I am the Chief of Police for the City of Atmore Police Department.
Yeah, and so we're just excited about where Atmore is going, but can you give us just a little brief review of where, last time we had our interview, I think we were pretty much in trying to find ourselves in crisis mode, but I see things have really stepped up and changed in the city. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The last time I was here, I talked about a black cloud being over Atmore, and, it was some really dark times. We had a lot going on throughout the community, a lot of violent crimes, a lot of gun violence, even homicides that we were working. And, we've worked hard to try to solve these crimes and get guns and drugs and off the streets. I mean, we've had extra officers out in our community, and one thing, you can put a bunch of police officers in an area, but it's the community. Recently, I tell a lot of people that we've had uneventful weekends.
Yeah.
We have about 10,000 people here within the city of Atmore, so we're busy with calls and complaints. However, the violent crimes have drastically, somewhere in the neighborhood of 58.9% reduction.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because of the good work, the men and women of the Atmore Police Department. They're getting out and solving these cases and putting people that are responsible for all this violence in jail.
Right. And like you were saying, you can put them all out there, but if we don't have no community involvement to help, leads and give information to solve some of these issues and problems. And I'm so glad to hear that, that is down almost 59%.
That's right.
And so we like I said, I'm gonna give you the bill with some kudos and thank you for the hard work that you do here in the community of Atmore, Alabama. And I always tell people, I know we may have problems. I mean, life comes with problems, and so every family has issues, but we are conquering this issue of crime in the city. And so to make Atmore a safer place where families and jobs can come, that it could be, a blessing to us and to our community and to our children that's following us when we have departed from this earth.
Well, we're committed to providing the best public safety for the citizens of Atmore. And, like I said, we're not perfect by no means. It's a daily grind that we learn. Mm-hmm. But, our police department is only as effective as our community allows us to be.
Right.
And, the men and women, they do a tremendous job of protecting and, just being seen.
Right.
We've had a lot of overtime hours for officers where I've gotten grants for officers to work, and, the high visibility technology. You and I was talking about technology before we started, and we have really gotten technology within the city and certain areas of town with cameras.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about that, and I hope these cameras that are around town are doing their job and deterring people from doing violent crimes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've seen them on the streets as well. I've seen some of the work that you guys have been doing. And I like to say it's a positive move forward, to create an environment that give people comfort and peace of mind. Because when you got peace of mind, I mean, you're more apt to move and do things and create a positive impact for our community. And so we excited about that. And so, but give us a little bit of outlook of your projected plans for the remainder of this year and going into 2026.
Well, the remainder of the year, we still have grant funds that we're going to have extra officers out on the street. But we're starting in September a new program for children.
Wow.
For kids to join an Explore program. And, this is nothing new to law enforcement. There's been Explore programs in the past. However, it's good to talk about this stuff, but, you have to work out all the challenges beforehand. So we think we've got a good hold on that. But we are encouraging kids to join this program. And, it basically gives them an insight to law enforcement. But it's not only just law enforcement. It just gives lifelong skills that, kids may not learn at home.
Yeah.
As far as, as simple as showing up on time to work.
Yeah.
And knowing the importance of working as a team.
Come on now.
So there's a lot that we are very excited for getting these kids in here and helping them, and just being a mentor to them. If they need somebody to talk to, we'll have officers available for them. So a lot of good stuff like that. I feel it's important. I mean, just because kids only see police officers and blue lights and all negativity. We need to have some positive interaction with our kids and let them understand, hey, we are not your enemy. We're your friends. You need to run to us. Don't run away from us.
Right. Yeah, talk a little bit more about that. Say if some parents are warning and they are watching this, this interview that we're doing, and then they want to reach out. So talk a little bit more about how they can apply, how they can put an application, or what's the process of bringing their kids, into this environment.
Well, for right now, these it's free of charge. There's no cost. You can go on our Facebook page, and the application is there. Right now, a student has to have at least a 2-point grade point average, and they have to take it to their schools to be signed off. Right now, we are not taking, delinquent kids. Maybe in the future, we can have that added. That's a whole new other element, when you're talking about delinquency and just, So, but right now, like I said, it's free of charge. If you don't have access to the internet, come by the police department. We'll be happy to give you an application to fill out. It's very simple. It's not a complex application, but we'll be more than happy because we're excited about this program. And if you have a child that's interested, please sign them up.
Yeah, and also I would just like you can come out of church, and we got internet here that we can offer to the community, and that if they want to use it, sit down. We got a place back there so they can sign up and be comfortable and move forward. That's great, wow. And so that's gonna start in September, and then it's gonna move over into 2026. And so Atmore is growing, and if you hadn't noticed here lately, I mean, just begin to look around and ride around town. Things are changing. The city is growing. The community is growing. And so now we moved over into, like Chief was talking about, the technology. AI is here. The blockchain is here. And so these are some of the things that grows a community. And say, like some of the youth 2.0 grade point average, if they want to come and see, that may even spark some careers here that will lead them into a great legacy for the city of Atmore.
Well, my hopes are that they get in, they enjoy this program, and then they may embark on a career in law enforcement. And that is, I've been doing this for, a lot of years, and it's been very good to me. But, we just hope that maybe they get interested and they see the importance of a police officer, not just a police officer, but a great trained police officer that does good work in the community. Because, like I tell everybody, you know, the easy part about being a police officer, I can go put handcuffs on anybody, but to help them through a situation that they may need help, that requires intelligent, smart individuals that's willing to work as a team and be, have a servant's heart.
Right. Yeah. Servant's heart. That's a, when you said a servant's heart, and so that servant heart is a choice, because when take me for example, sometimes a servant heart is a trained position, but it's a learned position. But when you make a decision, to want to go to the next level and learn some things and humble yourself, because I think humility serves a great part in being a servant. Because the Lord was telling me when I was one time, the Bible said He chastened those who He loved, and so I was telling people one night, I said, that's a honorable position. From a steward position, that's an honorable position. And sometimes we don't look at it from an honorable position, but He said He chastened those who He loves. And so if the love of God is in my life, that means God is watching out for me. He said, I'm drifting over a little bit too much. If you're driving a car in your lane, if you drift over a little bit, they got those little markers. They make a sound to wake you up, to alert you. You too far to the right. Come back to the center of the lane that you're traveling in. And sometimes I think what Chief is saying, what I'm saying, he said, we're just here to bring the community back to the center, because we're all traveling together. We're all looking for the same thing. We're looking for a better life for our children, for our family, looking for jobs, looking for Atmore to grow and be a great city. So, because great people have come from this city, I was talking to one of my friends, that grew up here and moved away and did some great things. And so same with people that And so Atmore, we went through some changes, but like I said, we're making progress. And I'm so, man, I'm excited. And so those are some key moments. What are some other things that that the city from your position is looking at moving into?
Well, my responsibility is the public safety aspect of it, and it's getting better equipment for our officers.
Yeah.
That's the number one goal for next year, is upgrading a lot of our equipment. We've done a tremendous job on our vehicles and making sure that we have good, safe vehicles for our officers. But as time goes on, like life, the vest that the officers wear, they wear out. They have a shelf life, and just upgrading the equipment for the officers, the training. I'm trying to get money for a training facility here that we could, I always say a better trained officer is better for your community.
Right,
and that's, we're trying to get, our senators to help us out with this training facility, and, where we can train not only our officers, but we can host for other smaller, law
units.
enforcement around in our neighborhood. So there's a lot of positive things going on. We're just excited to that we got a new physical budget coming up. So a lot of good things is going on.
Wow. Hey, you heard it here at Urbanone 2018. Hey, also, I know that large vehicle y'all got out down at the police department. I mean, it was camouflage, but I see y'all, y'all painted it black, and then talk about that vehicle a little bit.
I will.
How the process, how it came about, and what does it add to the force?
We were able to get that vehicle from the military surplus. Actually, that is a military vehicle. It's called an MRAP, which means that it is a fully armored vehicle.
Wow.
Fully armored. That vehicle, we have the sticker price on there. It cost over $850,000 just that one vehicle.
Wow.
And the city of Atmore, we got that for absolutely free.
Wow.
But it's completely armored, and basically we use that. We now have a special response team.
Okay.
Most people know it as SWAT. It's where a few are highly trained in the event that we have situations. They help out on search warrants. They're also, if we do have an active shooter, they are respond. They'll respond, and we're putting a lot of training into these guys to to eliminate a situation very quickly, because in the past I'd have to depend on the state to bring in their special response team. So we sort of developed our own. So that piece of equipment has helped. We deployed it several times already when people, where there was a threat that there might be a shooter. So the officers are, they're protected because they can get behind that thing, because it's, like I said, it's fully armored.
Right. Yeah. And I thought that was a great addition to because it's visible, and when people riding by the station, they can see that, the upgrading things that's taking place in our community. And so, man, I'm excited. And so 2025, the kids, we got something for them, and so reach out to the police, go to their Facebook page, and if your kids are interested, they can sign up. And I'm quite sure there's going to be some. And then also, you talked about when they sign up, it's just not going to be. It's going to be training about leadership, about the things of life that produces good citizens, that produces good leaders. And so they're going to learn a lot of skill sets and things that's going to build them to make them a better man or a better woman, and understand some things about growing up, because we all grew up at one time in life.
Well, my plan and my direction for this program is we want to make these kids leaders, not followers.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I want these kids to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
I want to challenge them with different aspects. So, and give them different scenarios and just see how they act and see how they respond. And, with the tools that we're going to provide for them. So, like I said, I'm very excited. I know my staff is excited. They're ready to go. We're getting everything together. So when it does, I want to teach them. Policing is sort of paramilitary.
Yeah.
And what that means is we're not the military, but we'll line up in formation, and we'll learn how to salute and just things like that. And we're not going to be running miles and miles and miles. That's not what this program is. Like I said, it's a program to teach a young person to think for themselves and to step up and lead.
Yeah. We were talking last, Don Taylor and we did an interview, and then we was talking about the 6 C's of relationship, every relationship going. But then I was doing some not training, but some teaching, I guess. And I came across this term, steward followership. That's a military term, but I didn't know that till I got into it. And so all the military leaders, when they bring people in training, that steward leadership position is one of the positions that the officers, when they're training and they're going up through the ranks, that they understand that steward leadership position. And so that steward leadership position, like I say, is ingrained in our military, and it's ingrained. And so really, when we take those terms in anybody that want to grow into a leadership position, I didn't know for a long time that criticism came with leadership. I was like, man, when I became a leader, I was like, man, why are these people criticizing me? But then when I started reading books about leadership, and things that you're talking about, well, criticism comes with leadership. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but what people have opinions about it. And so when you understand that this is part of the growth process of getting from point A to point B, well, now your job is made a little bit easier because you're not taking things so personal that comes with leadership. And And I was telling somebody, I said, it's like standing out front and the wind is blowing 30 miles an hour and you stand behind me. And so I'm gonna be feeling the 30-mile-an-hour wind force that's coming against me. But when you stand behind me, you're not gonna feel that. Your experience is gonna be totally different than from mine. And so when you're a leader and you're moving into a leadership position, you are out front. And so here it is, you're learning and you're coming into a place where you can begin to create transformational change, not only in your life, but with your friends and family and things and grow and become very successful. Who knows? Some of these kids is coming. Let me ask you this question. Is it just only for the Escambia County or is it what?
No, it's not just for Atmore, it's for the
Statewide?
entire county. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do it a couple of times a month, meet a couple of times a month, not for just an hour or two.
Yeah, okay.
And we're not gonna meet on Wednesdays or anything like that. It'll be a day during the week that hopefully that we won't. But the thing about it is, in my personal life, I've learned so much from my failures, things that I failed short, and that's
I think we all have, Chief.
yeah. I mean, that's one thing that kids nowadays, you're gonna fail. But the thing is how you climb out of that mentality,
Right.
and once you learn, it makes you a better person, and that's what we're conflict resolution. There's so much that we're gonna talk about, how we can de-escalate a situation to where it's not important to go get a gun and solve that situation by violence.
Right, because conflict management or conflict. So I had a pastor friend of mine from Nairobi, Kenya. He came over here, and matter of fact, he preached at the church. Apostle David Juma, and so he said early part of his life when he was a teenager, he went to Israel. So they did a professor was teaching them about conflict management. And what he said conflicts can be managed because Israel is always in conflict. And so they're managing conflict. And so here it is, where we understand what you're saying. And that's a training process that can be passed on, because why? When we understand conflict management, when I understood that criticism, that's managing conflict. And so sometimes any job you go through, that's part of the training that you'll go through if you're in a leadership position. And so we're training leaders, and so I'm excited about where we're going. But I want to talk about the 6 C's of relationships. And that's what Pastor Juma gave me. He said you got contact, commitment, and then conflict. So I reached out to you, so I made contact. Then we committed to do the interview today. And so any long-term relationship, or however the relationship go, it's going to come a point in place in the relationship where we may not agree on certain things, how it should go. And so then the 4th C is covenant. And so here it is. So now we come and talk about the issue if possible. Then now we come to covenant where we're making an agreement. Say, hey, okay, well, your idea is better, or your idea is better, or we're going to mix the two together and make a decision to move on. So when you come into a covenant agreement and you begin to understand that conflict is a part of life. I don't care. Our kids, they don't agree with either 2-year-old. Hey, sit down. No, they're going to stand up. And so here we learn conflict management. But then I was telling somebody, I said, conflict management sometimes is make a decision when you see conflict is going on. You make a decision to avoid those places. And so I think that's managing conflict as well, because when I was coming up, I was a small guy, but I knew where conflict was, and so I made it my business not to go toward those places and areas, because I didn't want to put myself in an environment that would cause me to do something, say something, because I was challenged. And so in order to, come on now, that's just a smart position to take. Glory be to God. Do you hear me? And so sometimes, man, I tell you, we can put ourselves in places that we don't need to be. But if we would have thought the process over, and I'll say this right here, for every godly man or woman, it doesn't matter, God put on the inside of us a GPS, I'm going to call it, that you can sense that you in the wrong place. You can sense that you shouldn't go there, you shouldn't be there. And so if we listen to that GPS that God has given to us, and I call it the Spirit of God, because we got some praying mamas. I mean, we don't want to let you think that Atmore is not a good place. I mean, I grew up here. Our chief grew up here. And so we just want to thank the mamas. We want to thank the granddads. We want to thank everyone in this city for what being a part of a culture that's transforming and changing and moving into what 2026. And so I understand what you're saying. Transformation and change is always difficult. But sometimes when you get to the place that you don't even realize that's better for you, and so moving into a place is difficult. But sometimes when you move into a new house, you say, "Man, I know that my old house wasn't too bad, but I sure like this one a whole lot better." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. And so transformation, so change is difficult because everybody likes their comfort zone, you know. And but here it is, you know, learning how to manage conflict. And so when you teach these younger people these scenarios and things that will better our community and transform it and take that same language and grammar back to our community, because of what's going to be, it's going to be community because people are community. And we were talking also, I said, well, some of that stuff we need to take back to the starting at the daycare, the kindergarten, and preschool, because in order to reach a generation, that's where you start reaching it, you know.
That's why it's so important for me and my staff to go to these daycares, go to these the elementary schools. You know, we try to get in these schools so that these kids can see, police are not the scary, people that
Right. Yeah.
you see, and that's why at Rachel Patterson they read Dr. Seuss books every year. We've read,
That.
and so I've had kids that I read 2 years ago that said, "Hey, I remember you when you came to school." So, and that's a great thing.
It
so,
is.
We have to do a lot more than that. And you talk about the future plans. We've got some things that I've got in mind for the middle school.
Yeah.
As far as like motivational speakers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
that would be great, because the Bible said faith coming by hearing and hearing by the word of God. And so I tell parents sometimes, I said, sometimes you're going through issues and things at home that you don't really know what to do. I said, take God's word or take a great sermon and then just play it in your home. Just put it low enough so you can hear it. And so I said, well, if your kids are in that environment, it's just like, come on now. It's just like when we first came in here, I went over to the thermostat because I wanted to cool things down. So transformational change comes when you use the methods that work, because sometimes the subconscious mind is hearing things that the conscious mind is not hearing. And so when you're hearing leadership, you hear these things being spoken, and then now the subconscious mind, because that's where your core belief is. So when you want to change that core belief, you got to put it out there. Faith coming by hearing. So if faith coming by hearing, everything else that you receive in life comes the same way by hearing. So what you hear, what you see is what you become. So we want to create a transformational change. That's what I hear you saying, by creating examples that the kids see at an early age. So we're creating books. We're bringing our community in, and so we're exposing them to technology. AI is here, ChatGPT 3, 5. And so sometimes we can use technology to advance and help us grow, because it's not going anywhere, but it's just a tool that we can use. I told somebody the other day, I said, all these AI things are just Google on steroids. But like you said, reaching our community at these early ages, and sometimes we can reach them. Just my personal view about saying, if watching videos, it's just something playing on the TV in the environment that they're in. So they're listening, they're looking, and they're picking up on skill sets, training it, and understanding, because they may not understand it, but our kids mimic what they see.
that's right.
To keep doing what we do in the community. And Chief, I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank you, and excuse me for being a little late this morning. I have to go back and get my glasses, but we need people like yourself that to you.
Yeah, well, it's an honor to serve.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was born and raised here, so you know it's an honor for me to provide the public safety for people, and people look up to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything in my possible power to make Atmore safe and safe for our families, where you can sit out on your back porch and
Come on
drink your coffee and read your Bible and without hearing a bunch of stuff. So
right.
We're going to continue to do our good work, and we just appreciate and get these kids out there and let them sign them up for this Explorer program. I promise you, this is going to be a great thing.
Wow. Well, you heard it here. Urban 2018. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson. Chuck Brooks, the chief of Atmore PD. And so we're excited, and we thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, may God richly bless be upon your life. God bless.
Thanks for watching the Urban 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson, the talk show dedicated to inspiring individuals from all walks of life. Every week, we have the privilege of hosting remarkable guests who provide profound insights on a wide range of topics. From local influencers to esteemed regional and national figures, they generously share their experiences and wisdom to spark positive change in our communities. We sincerely hope that today's episode has left you inspired and motivated. Join us again next week as we continue to uplift and empower. Until then, may you be blessed. From all of us at the Urban 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson.